A nuclear-capable Russian bomber was intercepted by U.S. jets off the coast of Alaska. This is the first such provocation since last year. General Jack Keane joins us now with more insight on the situation. General, thank you so much for joining us. There's a couple topics that I want to get to, but this sort of caught our attention, not only because we saw it a year ago, almost to the day, but it also comes on an anniversary. So I just want to get your reaction to this.
Well, to put this in a strategic framework, what's happening is we've returned to an era of big power competition once again. This is between the United States and Russia, United States and China, and fundamentally, as we've learned from the Cold War, these kind of big power competitions are test of wills. And here, what the Russians are actually doing is they're penetrating our air interdiction zone and they're testing our responses. We actually get to practice a little bit here. And the less we make about this in terms of fanfare, the better it is, because it's kind of routine. They harass our ships and they harass our airplanes, usually where they're forward deployed, mainly to intimidate our allies. But this is going to be a thing that is going to be routine. And we're just going to react normally to it and try to keep the lid on it and don't give them any more publicity than what they deserve to have.
Okay. Speaking of publicity, we saw some headlines this week, obviously, involving Iran and Israel. This is two countries where they know a direct war would be ultimately destructive, so they obviously try to make it sort of a proxy war, which we're seeing in Syria. What is Iran's end goal in Syria? Is it the proximity to Israel to intimidate them, to get closer to them? And then how should Israel be responding, as they are?
Yeah, if you're sitting in Iran, what Iran looks at, they want strategic depth, and all that depth they want to have is west, because that's largely where their adversaries are, the Sunni Arabs and the Israelis. And they just want to paint a Shia canvas all the way to the Mediterranean. That's their strategic framework, drive the United States out of the region. That's why they've been trying to kill us for years and been successful at that. But we haven't left the region. And they see Syria as their strategic anchor point, because from there they can do so many things. One is Israel, and two is also the Arab states. And they've been conducting a significant military buildup in southern Syria for some time now, ever since they propped up the Assad regime and motivated the Russians to come in and join them. And that military buildup has been ongoing, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has said, I've got a red line here. One is no Iranian troops or proxies close to my border. If that happens, I'm going to attack them. Military infrastructure that may endanger or encroach on Israel's sovereignties. So Qasem Soleimani, who is head of the Al-Quds division of the Iranian Republican Guard Corps, he doesn't report to the Guard Corps commander. He reports to the Ayatollah, the supreme leader. And think of him as a guy like a CIA and special ops together. All the terrorism goes around the world, he's in charge of it. All the proxies, whatever they're doing, he's in charge of it. He directed the 20 rocket attack into the Golan Heights on Israel territory. The Israelis responded with an overwhelming, not a proportion measured attack like we did with the chemical attack. They responded overwhelmingly and took away capability from them. They hit most of the entire Iranian infrastructure that was in Syria and did significant damage. The largest airstrike the Israelis have done since the Yom Kippur War in 1973. That's the significance. Netanyahu was sending a message to him. It's not going to work. I've got a red line here. I'm not going to tolerate it.
We don't have much time left, but is Iran over its skis? I mean, this is on the same week that we're learning, obviously, that the U.S. is pulling out of the Iran agreement. I'm just sort of curious what's the goal here?
Yeah, that's a great question, Elizabeth. Listen, they want to destroy the state of Israel for sure.
Right.
But that's a strategic goal that's going to be very difficult to attain. What their more immediate operational goal is, Iranians know they're going to make a race for a nuclear weapon at some time. I think it's less likely now when President Trump's in power, but that's what they got on their mind. They know the country that's going to come first for them when they develop that nuclear weapon is Israel. They want to be right there at Israel with thousands of rockets that they can encroach and fire into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem to discourage the Israelis from ever doing that attack. They've got 130,000 rockets in Lebanon right now that all can reach Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. They want to do the same kind of infrastructure across the 45-mile border into Syria, which would overwhelm Israel's missile defense system. That's their operational strategy. And Netanyahu is onto it. He's not going to let it happen. I don't believe it'll lead to a war with Iran, because Iran does not want to fight a conventional war against Israel, which they would lose.
The means, all right. General Jack Keane, thank you so much. Fascinating. We always love having you on to put things in perspective and to give us a good grasp on what's going on out there. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.